week's parsha, we continue to learn about the story of Avraham and how he became the father of the Jewish nation, how he was chosen for this role. And we find specifically prior to the story of Sodom and how it was destroyed that God revealed the circumstances of this story to Abraham and why Abraham was chosen for this role. So it says in the Torah, Ki Yedativ, because it is known. What was unique about Abraham? Lamana sheyitzavev es banav es beiso achrav. Abraham will command and teach his children and his family about the ways of God. So just based on that verse, you would expect to find multiple instances in the Torah of Abraham commanding his children, teaching his children, educating his family about God, the Torah, the morals of what that represents throughout his lifetime. And yet we find scant reference to any time Abraham actually mentioning a directive to his family. The closest we get is in the end of this week's parsha. There's this dialogue between Abraham and his son Yitzhak in the famous story of the binding of Isaac, the Akedah, that he tells them where to go ahead and go up towards the mountain where they're going to find the materials for the binding of Isaac. But besides that, there's nothing really that Abraham is actually giving in terms of a clear directive to his children. It seems somewhat odd. This is why Abraham was chosen, and yet we find very little in terms of Abraham actually communicating these directives. So I think this really teaches us a very important lesson about what's the best way to convey values to our children, our students, and people around us. It's not so much about giving verbal directives, telling people what to do, this is what you must do, this is a verbal command, but rather it's about modeling good behavior. It's about becoming a role model and showing people through the way you act what is an appropriate way to emulate and what is an appropriate way to go in terms of emulating values and going down that path. So Abraham wasn't a big talker. He wasn't a person that gave a lot of fire and brimstone speeches. He was a person that walked the walk, so to speak. He was a person that modeled good behavior, and his family and the people around him were inspired by that and followed his lead. So folks, as we think about what is the best way to convey those sacred values that are dear to us, let us remember the lesson of Abraham, and let us always remember how to model good behavior. Have a wonderful Shabbos.